Hey guys, happy Thursday again. Today's Thursday, December 19th, 2019. Very excited to be here with my very close friend. She's an amazing lady. She's fierce. Cindy DeCoster, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
So let us know you can hear us and see us. We got a couple people on. Oh, Stacy's on. Hi, honey.
Stacy.
And because I think this is going to be a great show, I'm very excited for her to talk about. Hi, Danielle. What she has going on. She's made some big moves. Hi, Shirley. She's fierce. She's awesome. So tell us a little bit about you. I've given the basic intro.
Thanks. So I'm Cindy DeCoster. My husband and I, Sean, and I have just opened our own company for the first time. We're going into our 19th year in real estate here in Central Florida. We're super excited to do it on our own for ourselves with agents that we have worked with, some since 2004 and others throughout our time in the real estate industry.
I love it. All right, but tell them you didn't have a real estate Barbie when you were growing up. I don't think. What did you want to do? What's your origin story?
Oh, goodness. So I am a self-professed New York Italian Catholic military girl who just always wanted to be that fierce businesswoman. So I'm a big team player. I played sports and...
That's right. What did you play?
I played soccer.
Wow.
When I was at Appalachian, we were a club team back then, and by the time I graduated, they had gone to...
Alice.
Hey, Alice. They had gone to become a varsity team. So it was pretty exciting to just be part of... I love being part of an organization, a group of girls that are just out there being who they are and kind of just owning it.
Is that where your approach to work and career came from, as far as the team aspect? Because ever since I've known you, you've been such a team player, team oriented.
Yeah, thanks. So I am the second oldest of 7 children. Wow. And so going along to get along is a big part of just survival, if you will. I was a Girl Scout for most of my, school age / middle school age, and then in high school, I've always gravitated towards team sports. I just think that I've never been the MVP. I've never been like the standout player, but I've always been part of a really great, successful group that together we achieve great things.
I love that. All right, so what brought you to real estate?
Oh, goodness. Real estate for us was my husband and I met in the hotel world, and we've had a significant history since then. And he worked for Starwood Vistana Properties, and he was the controller for a group of properties on the West Coast, and so they wanted him to get his real estate license to kind of learn about what he was bean counting, as I call it.
It is bean counting.
So anyhow, we were married without kids, and we're like, well, why not? We just bought our first house and thought we could have done it better and more efficiently, so why not? And it was really an education effort more than a career choice. But once you go through the course, you realize, you know what, this actually does work for who we are, what we bring to the table. I was a customer service and salesperson, and he was an accountant who was far too social to be behind a computer his whole life.
He is very social.
He is very social.
Social.
So
I love John.
It was a perfect fit for us, come to find out. And so yeah, it was kind of it was a natural migration of our past professional world, kind of come to practice real estate.
I love it. All right, hi Tyler, to you too, buddy. Good afternoon. So what happens though? You get this idea. You have you've got the sales background, customer service. He's social. You're both very social. But putting that first foot forward and converting that into a business that's viable and successful and builds. What was that like in the beginning? Because I think there's a lot of people who start their own business, whether you're in real estate or not, and they don't know. They think they know, and they think they're going to make $100,000 the first week. All real estate people are rich. There's these perceptions out there. So can you talk a little bit about maybe what you did and some of the things that you would recommend that people do that are starting out in business?
I think it helped that we had a corporate background, so we really understand, facts and figures, organizational behavior, money, lead sources, and things like the general part of business that I don't know that you really get it if you just go through school. I did have a business degree. I did major in hospitality management, which is a business degree, and Sean majored in accounting, which was a business degree.
Sure.
So you have the basics, but unless you really get it, you don't really realize there's a lot to it. And the biggest, and no matter what experience you have, you need to know you don't know anything about this. and
Agreed.
No matter what business you come from, real estate's it's just different. So I was humble enough to know that I didn't know anything, and I just plugged in. I just did what I was told. I was fortunate to belong to a company that had a great new agent training, and I just did it. I didn't, maybe that New York Catholic Italian military background, you do as you're told. I'm very coachable, and so I just I didn't really wait to like something. I just did what I was told, and I followed the path of more successful agents that went before me. So
what I love, obviously we've known each other for a long time. You've moved. You always bring so much to the office that you're at. But this is a new venture for you. So Fierce Realty is yours and
yes.
Sean's. And honestly, knowing your leadership skills, we've talked about it, I'm surprised that you weren't before, because the way I thought of you always was as the business owner. You just have that persona because you are out there and about, and you're a team player and a leader. So what was the journey like? What do you want to do with this now that it's yours? This is a new thing for you. I think people really do believe, because you've been a leader for so long, that you've always been on your own.
Well, thank you, first of all.
I love it. I think it's amazing. Congratulations.
I own everything that I do.
Yeah.
And I just, I think, I will just say this. I got my early start on a salary. So I was a salary employee as a guest service manager for Wyndham Hotels. I was a inside sales rep for several metal companies, distribution and manufacturers.
Metal?
Which is strange, and yes, don't even go there.
Wow.
But yeah, it was amazing, and actually still one of my good friends, I'd like to think, is we still keep in touch with them. So no matter what it is, you don't have to have an ownership per se on some deed somewhere to actually own what you bring to the table.
Great.
And so for me, I'm all in always, right? So when we had a great culture from the very first office. So I accredit Bill Parr for that. He was our first broker and just created this amazing teamwork environment. And so it never felt, and I think that's probably my secret, is that I've never looked at another realtor as my competition.
Right.
I think there's enough business to go around. I think that we can all learn from each other's contracts and customers and experiences, because no matter how long you're in this business, you are never ever fully informed of something random is going to happen.
Correct.
Like, that's the norm.
So talk about the business itself. Talk about the word fierce, right? So I love that word. I've heard you speak, so I know it's in your vernacular. It's something you believe in and live.
I do.
But give your definition of it and why it's important to you.
I read the book Fierce Conversations, and I read the book at the time I had turned 40, and I was on this personal journey, and it just hit me. Like, it was so to the core stuff. And what it says is in this book, and if you haven't read it, you should. It's
Fierce Conversations.
Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott, I believe is who wrote it. But anyhow, it just talks about communicating more effectively, being more drill down into the point. And oftentimes there's a story in it that makes me laugh every time I think about it, and it talks about mole whacking, that we, like the arcade game,
yes.
mole whacking, and so she tells a story about this high school kid who was he couldn't go out unless he eradicated the moles from his yard. That was his parents' chore. And so he's, shooting fireworks down the holes, and he's doing all these random stuff trying to whack the moles in our little arcade game. And come to find out that the moles, it wasn't a mole problem, it was a chinch bug problem. It was a food source. So once they eradicated the chinch bugs out of the yard, then the moles left. So oftentimes it just resonated with me. It was so many times we are solving one problem, and the reality is it's not. So transform to real estate. So many times we think that we don't make enough money, we don't make enough commission, we don't have enough this or have enough that. And the reality is maybe we're just not disciplined enough. Maybe we're not going out and we don't have enough leads, or maybe we don't have enough skills to convert those leads. And there's so many things that go into real estate that oftentimes we are whacking moles as symptoms and not the actual root of the problem. And I loved that. So fierce has kind of stuck with me. I think it's a bold and powerful word. I think a lot of people think of it as a negative, derogative type of word, where I just think it's power. I think it's, anything that you do, you should do fiercely. You should be fully committed. You should be drilled down, focused, and then make sure that what you are doing is moving you closer to your goal, not further from it.
I love that, and I think you're right. I think if you have to be committed, you have to drill it down, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. So obviously you've got a passion for that word, you've got a passion for living that life. What kind of advice can you give somebody that's like, all right, I want to be like that? Because it sounds easy, right? But you've had practice, you've done it over time. If you jump into any business, whether it's real estate or not, you really do have to think about what you're doing, and fierce is such a great way to do it. It's a powerful word. That, to me, it means committed. It means you are fully in, and I think that's what you said too. So being fully in, people don't understand what fully in is, or they're afraid to make the leap. They don't know what to do next.
So I'm a checklist girl. I live and die by a checklist. I think that we have so many things and so many people that we're responsible for, whether it's at home or in our business. And I think that understanding that we're all in this together. There's no, this is your buyer, this is your seller, this is your loan, this is your title work. It's not. I think it's a group effort, and if we don't have that common goal involved or in sight, then we're never gonna get there. And again, go back to that team concept that, the more hands, the lighter the load kind of thing. And so when we're all working together,
Danny Hernandez, macaroon, that's what he calls me.
When we're all working together, then we can achieve anything, faster, more efficiently, by using our resources and our pool of talent.
You mentioned that earlier. I forgot. I wanted to go back to that. So in our industries, especially real estate, if you're thinking of another realtor as competition, I think you're missing out on so many great relationships and potential business. One of the organizations we're both involved with is Women's Council of Realtors. And I am amazed at realtors that I will invite, and they're, why would I want to hang out with a whole bunch of real estate agents? So talk a little bit about that, because I think people really do misunderstand what the goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, and how powerful that unity can be.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a huge soapbox for me, for sure. There's enough business to go around. You are not going to be able to represent every buyer on every listing you have, and you're not going to be able to take your buyer to only your listings. It's just never gonna. It's never going to. It's too broad, and the general public, the buying and selling community needs us to work together, and that's where the MLS was formed, because you can't do it alone. Right. And so when you know the other side of the transaction intimately and able to communicate effectively and understand, hey, this is going on, that's going on, what's going on with this, what's going on with that. That communication gets so much easier when there's people behind it, and
right.
and you know the people behind it, and it's not this like, oh, you're trying to get one over on this person or that person. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So for me, it was a natural thing, because again, I believe very strongly that together we all achieve more. I really truly believe that, and so it was a natural fit for me. Women's Council has been an amazing leap for me. When the market crashed is when I got involved. I started my career when my son was 6 months old, and then had a daughter 12 months later. So yeah, efficient, right?
I love that.
and so I just was one of those drilled in. If I was not making money and bringing money to my family, then I wanted to be home with my children.
Right.
So I was very focused. I'm very focused. I'm very determined. I'm very goal oriented, and less caring about liking the activity that brought me to the result as much as I was committed to the result. So for me, it was one of those things that just happened. And I was in a large office, which was fantastic when the market was great, and you had the listings, which we were fortunate enough to kind of be listing agents primarily. And so the business was plentiful until it wasn't. And then all of a sudden, relationships outside of the office, outside of your own comfortable four walls, was very important. And that's where I found the council, the Women's Council of Realtors, and that's where I found the Chamber of Commerce, the St. Cloud Chamber of Commerce. I found the Downtown Main Street program, and the things that I was very committed to solving the problem of the downturn market. Like, how do we recover from this? And what's the next? And where are we going to go from here? And I was more committed to that than liking or not liking what I was going through.
Right.
And so I was fortunate enough. I love education. I think that we can never learn enough. Our market, our industry is forever changing. And if you are not up on what's happening in the market, then the market is going to gobble you up. So,
I agree.
So I was very committed to that, and I was able to make connections and understand what was happening, and I got certifications in short sale foreclosure resource. I got At Home with Diversity, Performance Management Network, Senior Resource Specialist, and other designations that kind of kept pushing me ahead of the average curve. I've never, I don't know, call it a height complex, but I'm like,
you're not short. I'm
like, okay, I have to take twice as many steps to get, to everybody else's single step. So I'm always like, what's next? How do I do this quicker? How do I do this faster? What do I need to understand that I don't know yet? Things like that.
I love that you took one thing you just said struck me. You took the focus off you, meaning what you were going through, and put the focus on something positive. There's a lot of people who talk about that because it's very easy if you're focusing on you and the woe is me and the things that you can't change. Instead, you focused outwardly. You focused on the things. You knew your own heart and soul, so you had to focus on the positive things. You had to focus on how to resolve the problem. A lot of people bury their heads. If a problem comes up, I'm just going to bury my head. I'm going to pretend it didn't happen. Woe is me, and then the world's going to eventually change, and I'll adapt. You wanted to make the change.
Oh, I was committed to it. I was like, oh no, this can't go on anymore. And I wish, if I'm being truly transparent, I wish I reacted sooner. I wish I acted sooner. But now that's kind of my privilege to pay that forward. So having gone through what I've gone through, and the delay in action that I took, if I can shorten somebody else's learning curve, that's a win-win. That was why I had to go through that. Being able to identify signs and trends in the real estate market, it's exciting. Now I'm like, dang, I get to tell you about that because I totally hit that wall before I found it.
I love that. So tell me about Fierce Realty. The culture. So culture is like, that's another big buzzword, right? What's the culture? What's the environment like? And I know you, so I know you have thought that through and have been through, like all of us, you learn the things that you like and you don't like. So I know what you're going to do is implement and create an environment, a culture, and you're very purposeful and intentional about that.
Yes, thank you. I love people in general, and I love real estate. And so to be able to kind of marry those two is kind of a privilege to, to be able to pay that forward and to teach agents how to help people through their most expensive purchase or sale of their life it is an honor, and it should be treated with kid gloves, if you will,
right,
with professionalism, high integrity, high morals, high ethics, and anything less of that is not going to be wouldn't be a fit for us.
Right.
So yeah, we believe very, very strongly. We were religious farmers, as I called us. We believed and did everything kind of with a purpose, and so being able to pay that forward, here we are about to enter our 19th year in real estate. And I was sharing with Ted earlier that we closed our first 3 transactions last week.
That's awesome.
Under Fierce Realty. And I'm super proud that our very, very first closing was with one of my very, very first ever real estate customers, Al and Melinda Vasquez. They were they relocated from Bronx, New York, so my New York folks, and we've been close ever since. That closing was their 4th transaction with us, and tomorrow we are closing on their 5th transaction. So we sold their house, was the first closing, and now we're helping them buy a new construction tomorrow. So
that's awesome.
It feels great. Our second closing was our Women's Council referral out of Ocala. So Miss Ellie Trahan was president with me at the same time, 2012. We were presidents of our local networks, and she's been my solid right hand throughout my Women's Council journey since then. And she referred us that listing, which was our second Fierce Realty closing.
Love it.
And then our third Fierce Realty closing was my son's 4th grade teacher's daughter. So it speaks to who we are. I think it really speaks to our culture piece, is that, one, keep in touch with your past clients. Hey, Jason.
Hey, what's up, Jason?
Keep in touch with your past clients. They are paramount. They're your foundation. Number 2, network with a purpose. The Women's Council, so many people have a membership, but how many are plugged in and getting out of it what they put into it? Correct. And so if you are loving it, you're putting a lot into it. If you are feeling like maybe you're just only paying your dues, then maybe that's all you're getting from it. Right. So absolutely, I've been a member since 2009 and have been plugged in almost since day one. And
that's awesome.
It was my privilege to be the state president last year, and currently I serve on the national executive committee, and it's exciting. It is still paying dividends every single day, every single month, because I plug in every single day and every single month.
You put into it. I think you hit the nail on the head. The people who don't enjoy things, it's even like a membership here at the club. If you're part of a membership, if you're part of any kind of organization, and you're just writing the check or paying your dues, hey, what's up, Yvonne?
Hey.
And you're not engaged and involved, well, of course you're not going to get anything out of it. How are you expecting anybody to have a relationship with you when you're not trying to have a relationship with anybody else? That's always my number one reason I turn people away from the club, because if you're not committed to being a part of the organization, you're going to hate it, you're going to have buyer's remorse, you're not going to be in a happy place, and then you're going to badmouth it.
Well, here's one of the phrases I use, is that everything that you do should complement each other, and it should move you closer to your goal. So whether you're networking with your church or your local community, or your the booster club at your kid's school or whatever, you're already there. Why not go deeper where you're physically already than trying to add? Because multiplication gets you faster than addition.
Agreed. I like that.
So if you think about it from a multiplication perspective, then that's why I think we've been so effective. Is that again, short girls have to make the most out of every step that they take. So the kind of the law of multiplication versus addition works for me. And again, do everything that you do fully, fiercely, committed, and then the dividends will multiply.
Correct.
And then your sphere of influence. If our real estate community is not tapping into loving on and being intentional with their sphere of influence, then that's just shame on you. You're missing out big time. And so I say this affectionately that I have always pimped my kids out, but my kids have been I've had a license longer than I've had my children.
Right.
So my children only know us as realtor parents. So it's natural. And that fourth grade, hi Sarah. Love you too, girl. My son's fourth grade teacher, Bob Cardesi, who's probably watching, is amazing. And he is such a good sport. He lost a bet to my children, and foolish boy bet on the Patriots against the Jets. And so we have a blackmail picture of him in a Jets jersey that my children to this day bring out at every occasion possible. And so he was either going to love us or hate us, and unfortunately he loves us.
And that's relationships. It goes back to the relationships. Every relationship you have, it can be beneficial in one way. However you look at it, it can be beneficial. It can teach you a lesson, either what not to do, what to do. And so you have to deep dive. That's a great term. Mm-hmm. You really have to get to know. If everything's peripheral for you, if everything's surface, then of course you're probably not progressing toward your goal like you would like to. Why? Because the universe is not going to reward that, and whatever your beliefs are, you're not going to be able to engage people back, and they're not going to want to do business with you. Don't you want to have relationships that are productive, and not just for the business? I had Brian Russi on yesterday, and Brian's a really close friend of mine, and he said to me, our relationships first. I'm like, yeah, we haven't done any business yet. That's what he said. And I said, that's okay. It'll come. It'll come from him, from the relationship, from the positivity. So you have to invest in relationships, I believe.
100%. And
hi, Jan.
Hi. Authenticity is it. You can wear your name badge all you want, but you wear authenticity or not.
That's true. It
is an unremovable name tag. And I think people feel that when, I've known you for a long time too, right? So I think we can smell it.
Yep, we can. Totally.
And it is an attractor or a repellent.
Correct.
And it depends. It does rule.
It really does rule.
And people see it. You can,
The authenticity is so critical, and vulnerability. I think you have to be able to trust in your own gut and your authenticity to be vulnerable. Yeah. And when you become vulnerable, that doesn't mean that you, people, I think that's another word that has a really negative connotation to it. Being vulnerable doesn't mean just letting people step on you. That's sharing the reality of what you're going through instead of the fake stuff that we all are trained to do.
Right.
And I always encourage people to, when I'm coaching people, I'm like, you got to untrain yourself from that. Take a risk. Vulnerability seems really risky and scary, and it really isn't. Once you let that go, once you become authentic and aren't afraid, what's going to happen is the people who are supposed to be around you will be around you. The people who are not are going to be repelled, and they're going to get out of the picture, and that's what you want.
Yes. It's almost like they left without being asked.
Correct. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
But here's what's exciting, though. You will end up attracting so many more people to your...
I is who I is. That's right. Papa used to say that.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Like attracts like. Right. And so drama attracts drama, and non-dramatic repels it. So, you know what I mean?
I do.
So it's been exciting for us to kind of go through the journey through our real estate career that we did. we work with the most amazing customers from a buying and selling perspective, and my husband still does our transactional business to this day. Where for me, I've moved into this leadership kind of roles where now I'm able to work with the agents I want to work with, and I'm not filling some quota and having, it doesn't matter if they, one of the things that killed me, and if I could just speak semi-negative for a second,
sure,
and say, I had a coach that would teach new agent orientation, and they would say, look around, look to your left, look to your right, only 2 of you of the 10 are going to survive. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, you have set a pace of this is your competition, yeah. Right? And so I'm thinking, no, how do we get all 10 of us to succeed?
Right.
Because a team gets to a win together.
Agreed.
Like, you can have it, very seldomly do you have an MVP of a losing team that's talked about.
Correct.
Like, right? So I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know. That just never really resonated with me. Instead, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I want to spend time, search and invest in 2 or 3 rock star potential new agents, and let's pour all the way into them.
Correct.
And then let's all succeed. And I'd rather succeed with a team of 2 or 3 than semi succeed or more over fail with a team of 10. So
agreed. I love that.
So to be able to grow our company fiercely the way we want to, intentionally with the agents that want to invest in education, professionalism, morals, ethics, and do real estate the right way, doing right by our customers, our buyers, our sellers, our investors. That's treating our partners with the respect and dignity that they deserve. Nothing kills me more than to hear an agent fighting with a mortgage or a title person. I'm like, that's your teammate. Like,
exactly.
Whoa, that's not, there's no room for that. There's no room for that in my world. So, some have called it naive, some have called it Pollyanna. Well, I'm still standing.
That's right.
I'm standing fiercely on as high heels as I can get.
Those are high heels too. I've seen them.
So yeah, I love it, and I think that being able to pay it forward in this way is an absolute honor and an absolute privilege.
All right, there it is. So we're going to share all of Cindy's contact information, how you can reach out to her, how you can learn more. I mean, she's very accessible, trust me. If you're interested in real estate at all, if you're interested in anything to do with being fierce, Cindy's a people person, so she will absolutely respond to you. I forgot to tell you what the last question is. We've changed it a little bit, but I don't think it'll catch you off guard too much. We're really big on mentorship with the TED Show and TED's community. So if you can give a shout out to somebody or a couple people who have mentored you along the way, somebody who's made an impact on you, changed the trajectory of your life, we would appreciate that.
Oh my gosh, so many. Well, first, this gentleman right here, in all trueness, he is such a connector and such a relationship person. He's always put people first before business, and I think it was an embarrassing amount of time before I even knew specifically what business you did, because he was just, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And it wasn't until I'm like, wait a minute, how do I help you? And go back and reciprocate. So absolutely.
Thank you. That's so sweet and unexpected.
Genuinely.
Thank you.
Genuinely.
Thank you.
There's so many, from a women's council perspective, the list is endless. But again, I mentioned Ellie. Ellie was a local president with me at the same time. And she was generous with her time and talent and education. Again, I always have like these great ideas, and sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what I don't know. I don't even know how to like get to where I want to go. I just know I want to go there. And so she was instrumental in my beginning, and then the connections have been countless ever since. And so Joanne Stevens from Texas, Cindy Reddy from Arizona, Anita Davis from Maryland, Ann DeFries from right here in Florida, Gail Hartnett from Idaho. I mean, these women give of their time and talent, their education, and their overall love of people kind of fierce women that want to help make an impact, kind of showing us the way of how to get there, how to do that. And I'd be totally remiss if I didn't say my husband, who has believed in me from day one. We opened Fierce Realty on our 21st wedding anniversary.
Woo-hoo.
So we were like, we pulled the plug. It didn't become official because, everything is a process and nothing is as quick as you want it to be. But yeah, our 21st wedding anniversary, we were like, you know what? No, let's bet on us. We're tired of betting on other people and being disappointed. Let's do us.
I love that.
And so we did.
All right, and I knew you wouldn't have a hard time with that because you come from a place of gratitude.
I have so many people, and I've probably forgotten 1,000.
Well, that's
of them,
all right.
so.
They know you all love them.
So
it's just speak it out loud, guys. The whole point is to thank people.
Yes, truly.
And say it instead of just, they know it. No, they probably do, but it's good to say it.
It's
out
always
loud.
good to hear it too.
Yeah,
so.
and it does a lot for your world. Trust me. The more grateful you are, the more you're going to get back. I promise.
Yeah.
All right, you're a joy. I love you to pieces.
Love you too.
We will see you back tomorrow. Have a great night. See you on Friday.
Thank you for the opportunity.